Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. I hope you're all having a good day. It is a hot day here again today. I'm feeling quite virtuous. I have not been lolling about in this blow-up jacuzzi, flexing in my blow-up jacuzzi. I have finished cleaning the house once again, and I'm getting faster and faster at it. I've really got it down to a fine art now, because I've discovered one really helpful tip, because it's so arid here, so hot, that when the fitted sheets come out of the washing machine, so kind of spun dry, they're not quite dry. Put them straight on the beds and they dry in 10 minutes. That's how hot it is here. Obviously can't do that all year round. Right, I wanted to talk to you about the Queen Mother's will, because I've been thinking about this for quite a long time. As a lot of you know, I believe that Harry has not only run out of money, is most likely in debt. I don't care about these ridiculous tours, that faux royal, fake royal tours they're doing. I think it's probably still on the kindness of strangers, really, who don't know anything about them. I doubt the country of Colombia any more than the country of Nigeria realise the reputation that they have. Notice how their appearances are now transferring to faraway lands as opposed to places in the States. So, I mean, it's changed. They still do these appearances in the States. For example, awards that are undeserved, awards no one's ever heard of, pap shots in car parks. And loads of you made me laugh the other day. I never realised, it never clicked before, that the big car park we live next door to at the marina is called the Santa Barbara car park. So of course it's begging for a parody, isn't it? I'll have to get my Meghan Markle wig out, dust it off. I'll have to give it a brush as well. It's in quite a state. Although it might be all the funnier if I do it all matted and sticking out. And I'll try and do a parody pap walk all over the Santa Barbara car park. And then, I mean, actually, it probably won't be a parody, because when she actually does it in real, we're all thinking, what the hell's that all about? Who cares if you were in a car park? But anyway, right, let's get on to the Queen Mother. Now, I know that for a long time, a lot of people have been saying that Harry is going to get an inheritance from the Queen Mother, a larger share than the Prince of Wales. Now, I have serious doubts about this. And ever since I found something on the royal website itself, I have probably complete doubts about whether any of this is true. And I'm thinking, where did it start? Well, I'll tell you where I think it started. And I haven't checked, so forgive me, Mr. Burrell, if I've got this wrong. I have read Paul Burrell's book about Princess Diana, and I think it's fabulous. It's not really that much about the royal family, although they do come into it. It's more about Mr. Burrell's life experience working within the royal household. And he's very kind to every single member of the royal family. I don't understand why there was ever the uproar about it. It's not like servants telling tales. He's so kind to them. And I would recommend reading it, because you really feel like you're there. And you get a really good flavour, and it made me even more sympathetic towards the royal family. Even members of the family, I wasn't particularly sympathetic to before. Now, Paul Burrell said, I think this is where it came from. I think he said that the Queen Mother had said that she was going to leave a larger share of her fortune, if she had a fortune, because she had huge gambling debts, to Harry, to compensate for the fact that he wouldn't be the king one day. He wasn't, that close to the throne. Well, Paul Burrell, of course, stopped working for the royal family in 1997 when the late Princess of Wales, Princess Diana, died. And the Queen Mother was still alive. She had not herself died at that stage. So if I'm right, and it was in Paul Burrell's book, and I think that's where it came, then he would have been expressing what he had heard or seen at the time, and that the situation may well have changed since he had left serving the royal family. Now, I'm going to read out to you exactly what it says on the royal website, and for the life of me, I cannot think what motivation the royal family would have for lying on this matter. The Queen Mother has been dead for many, many years, 22 years, isn't it? Was it 2001, 2002, or was it 2000? I can't remember. I think it might have been the year 2000 that she actually died. So she died after Princess Diana. Now, this is what it says, and don't take my word for it, so I am going to put a link in the description below to this exact page on the royal website. It's entitled Will of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. It was published on the 17th of May 2002. The following statement is issued by the press secretary to the Queen. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, has bequeathed her entire estate, in brackets, which mainly comprises the contents of her house, close brackets, to the Queen. So her entire estate, and in brackets it says which mainly comprises of the contents of her house. Well, perhaps that's because she did have gambling debts, bless her, and our late Majesty, equally bless her, was a little exasperated from time to time and had been known to say, "Oh, mummy," and paid off the debts for her. So it continues. In her will, she asked the Queen to make certain bequests to members of her staff, and these bequests will be subject to inheritance tax in the normal way. The Queen, referring to our late Majesty, has decided that the most important of Queen Elizabeth's pictures and works of art should be transferred to the royal collection. Some of these items, including works by Monet, Nash and Carl Fabergé, oh, I didn't know she had Fabergés, from Queen Elizabeth's collection will be on display in the Royal Treasures exhibition, which is due to open at the New Queen's Gallery, Buckingham Palace on the 22nd of May. I'm assuming also 2002. It is expected that the Prince of Wales, this would be our now king, who was the then Prince, they really should update these pages, shouldn't they? It is expected that the Prince of Wales will move from St James's Palace to Clarence House, which will become the Prince of Wales office and official London residence. Since fire safety and refurbishment work will be required at Clarence House before this move takes place, it is expected that the majority of the costs of this work will be met from the Property Services Grant in Aid. It is intended that the ground floor of Clarence House will be open to the public during August and September in future years once the fire and safety and refurbishment work has been completed. Subject to discussions with the Crown Estate, oh, here comes a bit of a contentious one. The Duke of York is planning to dispose of his lease of Sunninghill Park and move to Royal Lodge. Extensive refurbishment will be required, and this will be paid for by the Duke of York, either directly or as part of the rent, if he moves to the house, which we all know he did. Burke Hall is a residence on the Queen's private Balmoral estate, which the Queen had made available to Queen Elizabeth, as well as the Prince of Wales. The Prince of Wales will continue to make use of the house. So there is no mention there of a will. Now, it's a private will. They always are, apparently. I think the idea of private wills for the royal family started with Queen Mary. I'm not sure, because normally wills probate their public record, but not for members of the royal family. And I actually agree with that. You know, I think they come under enough grief as it is without scrutiny of that. And people would find out probably a lot about their personal business. But there's no mention whatsoever in that of any other beneficiaries to a will. In fact, it doesn't even really imply that there was a lot of money. It basically says she had possessions, bless her, and not an awful lot of money. And if she did have any money, it was given to servants. And that's on the royal website. So I think it's not what they these days they call misinformation, disinformation. I think it's a misunderstanding, which possibly came from Paul Burrell's book, possibly, but I could be completely wrong on that, and it might not. It might have been somebody else's book, because there's so many people write books on the royal family. But if it was from Paul Burrell's book, then that would have, she might have said something within his earshot to Harry, oh, don't worry, Harry, I'll leave you the lion's share in my will to make up for it. She might have said something like that. I will look through the book and I will see if I'm right or wrong on that, and I will update on the next video. I'm contemplating doing a live, a very particular and special live, and probably longer than most. And basically asking all of you guys, what would you do if you were Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? Or what would you do if you were President of the United States? And for everybody to have their chance to say, well, I'd do this and I'd do that. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, because, those kind of things can always get contentious. But I was thinking more along the lines of people coming up with ideas, suggestions, what people would like to see happen. I see a great deal of fear in comments and online generally. I receive emails from people who are very, very frightened. What if this happens? What if world government order? What if this party wins? What if they do that to me? And I do think that sometimes fear is, well, quite a lot of the time actually, fear can come from things being whipped up on the internet. And there are people on TikTok, even YouTube, there are people on all forms of social media, and some people get carried away, some people are doing it on purpose for clicks and likes, and it can put the fear of God into people, and it can make people very, very scared of the world around them. I think legacy media and mainstream media are and have traditionally been just as guilty of whipping up terror and fear amongst the general population. So then watching and reading things for entertainment interest and to find out can go from that to pure unadulterated terror of the world is falling apart around us. And it isn't. Things kick up. Things go pear-shaped for a bit, but they come back to normal quite quickly as well. And I know it's been a very, very intense last week and a half, but I do feel things will calm down, and that everybody should have their chance to have their say without being threatened with death. Which brings me to another subject. I would like to see a journalist ask Harry outright, direct to his face, has he ever paid money through social media, through public relations companies? Has he ever paid 1 penny to trolls on the internet, otherwise known to us as sugars? And if he were to dare to deny it, I'd like to see that journalist follow up the question with, then what was Christopher Boozy doing on your Netflix show? You bloody hypocrite. And are you aware of the people Boozy hangs out with and the things Boozy has said? And do you condone that? Because I think it's a flaming cheek, him and Meghan appearing on any interview. Yes, I did watch it in the end. It was exactly as I expected. It's all about Meghan and how she didn't want people talking about odd things like where her bump was. It was up here, down there, to the left, the right. It was all over the bleeding place. And she didn't want anybody talking about it, and he and his money wanted to silence it. That is my belief. And she has the unmitigated gall, quite frankly, to pit herself or put herself in any way, shape or form in the same position as parents who have tragically lost children through whatever, whether it was buying what they thought were aspirin online and it turned out to be an illegal substance, or through committing suicide through social media bullying. I cannot believe that legacy media, mainstream media, are not pulling them both to task over this. And I hope they're going to be roasted at some point, not only by South Park, but by a hell of a lot of people. And I think that is a question a lot of people need to ask Harry. We all have our suspicions, that I'd like to see someone ask his bare face, look him in the eye and say, have you ever paid trolls? And see what he says. Well, that's quite enough from me. I'll just show you the Suzanne garden. Lovely Suzanne wanted to buy us some flowers last year, and we bought several plants. Not all of them have survived, but some have, so thank God. Here's the Suzanne garden. Oh, I'll just go down a bit. Ah, that'll be eye level. And there, I don't know if you can see that, the orange flower. It's actually survived. I didn't kill it. That in itself is a miracle. As always, look forward to reading your comments below. Thank you very much for listening.